Today I must survive the oldest anarchy server in Hytale, not Minecraft. After years of waiting, Hytale finally released in a playable state back in January, and with servers going online, naturally I wanted to give Anarchy a try. I actually made a video 7 years ago speculating what a Hytale Anarchy server might look like, but now we actually get to find out. For the challenge today, I had 3 main goals: get some basic gear, explore and survive the spawn area, and then attempt to find an actual base. After spending some time on the server, there are things that I really liked, but also some things I did not. So join me today as we explore builds and survive encounters on the oldest Anarchy server in Hytale, and see how the experience compares to 2b2t in Minecraft. Now, when I'm not exploring crazy servers, I live a pretty active lifestyle, and it's made easier with Factor. Part of the HelloFresh family, Factor sends me delicious meals right to my door that are ready in only 2 minutes, no prep required. They offer a wide variety of different dietary options, and you can choose how many meals per week you would like. They're delicious and nutritious. This coming spring season, you can count on Factor for fast, tasty meals that fit your lifestyle. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code FITMCFB50 to get 50% off your first Factor box plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code FITMCFB50 at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free breakfast for 1 year. Thanks again to Factor for sponsoring today's video. It was time to survive Anarchy in Hytale and accomplish my 3 goals: get gear, explore the spawn, and find a base. The question was, which server? The majority of Hytale Anarchy servers all launched at the exact same time, so technically all of them are the oldest. But 6b6t seems to be the most popular as far as player activity, so it was there we would attempt to survive. As is tradition, instead of using my main Hytale account, which is FitMC, I used an alt instead. I completely randomized the appearance, though I did make him bald. Upon logging in, I found myself just outside of spawn with only 3 other players online. Looking around, it was already feeling like an Anarchy server with the random builds and resources missing. After harvesting some wood, I opened the map for the first time. 0-0 was already covered with blocks and artwork, so I knew I needed some gear before venturing there. Since players had already started on highway systems, I decided to follow one of them east. After a graceful jump off a bridge, I foraged for some materials. There was a very odd structure off to the northeast, so I decided to investigate. There was a diagonal road heading towards whatever this was, so I followed it until I reached the very center, where the roads went in all directions. A skeleton found me, but without a weapon still, I had to flee. I circled back around and harvested some berries to recover my health. What's nice is that in Hytale, food is used to recover HP directly, so you don't need to eat it passively just to stay alive, meaning I could keep exploring. I saw a staircase leading up to the sky, so naturally I had to climb it. The view from the top was not bad, but I still needed some gear. I saw what appeared to be player-made structures to the south, so I headed back down to the ground. On the way, I found an abandoned house that had taken a little bit of damage, but was still standing. After managing to outrun a very angry bear, I found some debris in a chest that finally allowed me to craft some basic tools. No more running from skeletons. After a quick fight, I made my way towards the large temple I had seen on the map. From the outside, it seemed like a generated structure, but inside, there were rows of chests like you would see in a base on 2b2t. Clearly, someone had been living here. After taking a look around and with my first goal complete, I decided it was finally time to head towards 0-0 and see how crazy the spawn was. After fighting more skeletons, finding ruins, and seeing works of art in the distance, I had made it to the perimeter. Would it be a wasteland like 2b2t, or something completely unique? I was curious. The outside was stacked with tombstones, which I assumed was completely normal. After entering a hole in the wall, spawn was covered in total darkness. After making quick work of a spider, I kept navigating towards 0-0. Looking around, it had the Anarchy landscape, but it still felt unique compared to the Minecraft variety. In a way, it was more calm, and instead of lava all over the place, the hazards were cacti and piles of trash, which seemed like a random combination, but it could be worse. Spawn in general had a lot of random blocks and objects everywhere, but outside of the occasional enemy, there really wasn't much danger, so I was still free to explore and find griefed builds. Eventually, I wanted to see if I could get up to the spawn roof, which was far above me. Maybe there was more to be found up there than just artwork. After fighting some more creatures and wandering past hollowed out structures, I saw what appeared to be a way up. As I climbed the staircase, I was able to get a much better view of all of the things that had been built under the roof. But things were about to get tricky. The only way to the top was to carefully climb blocks on the side of a column. What I love about Hytale, though, is you can mantle and climb anything up to 4 blocks tall, which makes vertical movement and navigation feel way better than it does in Minecraft. I still had to move carefully, as falling would mean certain death. As I approached the top, I took in the view while the nature ambience kept playing in the background, which was a funny contrast for an Anarchy server. But upon finally reaching the top, I was reminded the game is still in alpha because attempting to go above build limit kicked me from the server instantly. I definitely wasn't expecting that. Upon trying again, it did the same thing. So the roof was off limits. I carefully made my way back down. It was nice to be able to drop shorter distances without taking fall damage like in Minecraft. I felt I had seen everything there was to see at spawn, so it was finally time to head out and search for a base. I started walking north on the nearest highway and planned to stay on the road until I could potentially spot something on the map. Despite encountering some creatures, it wasn't too dangerous. After passing through a mountain tunnel, I came across something unexpected. A chunk error, just like you would see on 2b2t. I didn't think these could occur in Hytale. It seemed legit because a tree was split in half on the bottom. But who knows, maybe it was just a prank. A diagonal road passed right next to it, but I wanted to stay on the main highway to get farther out. After crossing over a tundra, I came across an abandoned building. I couldn't tell if a player had made it or if it was a generated structure, but regardless, it didn't count as a base, so I kept moving. As I passed by some letters and graffiti left by other players, in the distance, I saw a massive build. Someone had randomly built a giant truck. It was a cool find, but once again, it was not an actual base, so it didn't count for my goal. The highway went straight through an enemy camp, so I had to run through quickly to avoid being shot. From biome to biome, I kept moving, looking for signs of bases and finding remnants of player activity. I found myself just looking around at times, as visually, Hytale is a very pleasant game to look at. From active volcanoes, fire fields, and arid deserts, there was a lot of biome variety. I kept looking at the map for points of interest to investigate, and eventually, in the desert, I saw what looked like a small house in the middle of a canyon. I knew I had to take a look, so I carefully came down from the highway and trekked across the desert. As I got closer, it seemed like an actual base, as someone had put torches on the ground outside. Inside, there wasn't any furniture or gear, but there was a staircase leading down into some caves. I looked on the wiki to see if this was actually a generated structure or prefab, and I couldn't find anything similar to it, so it seemed legit. It wasn't much, but it was clear someone had been living here sometime in the last month. A base is a base. Mission accomplished. Now, I want to give my thoughts on Hytale Anarchy, especially compared to Minecraft servers like 2b2t. Despite only being in alpha, Hytale itself is a very fun game. The combat feels great, and the movement is very fun to engage with. And I do like the focus on the RPG elements. Anarchy servers in this game have a ton of potential. But one of the downsides currently is just by looking at the server lists, there is not a lot of player activity right now, so these servers might feel more lonely compared to the big Minecraft servers. With less player builds to find, it might feel like there's less to do overall. And since food in the game is only used to recover health, it's not as necessary to survive, so the Anarchy experience definitely felt a little bit easier compared to Minecraft. As you saw in this video, the game does have some technical challenges when it comes to Anarchy, which are circumvented by frequent server restarts. But as the game improves, so will the servers. After surviving the oldest Anarchy server in Hytale, I can safely say that if you're looking for a fresh Anarchy experience outside of Minecraft, I would definitely recommend Hytale. I think the game and its community has a ton of potential.